Hello, YouTube. This is Matthew, and yep, you're seeing it right there. The worst Naruto box art I have ever seen in my life. Whoever did this box art should be fired and just go back to art school. This is probably one of the worst art box arts I've seen, but nonetheless, this is the Naruto triple feature collector's edition steel box. So this is the HD remastered of the first three Naruto movies. And honestly, if it wasn't for this box art, I am digging the actual steel box look. So let's just take a look right here. Let's open it, and I'll show you guys quickly the insides, which is very little, and then we go on to the audio and video quality here. As you see here, we got the two slits here. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but slits are plastic, which has all the information. Not that important. But this right here. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that beautiful artwork there. Look at that. Disc is white. Now, one of the main nitpicks I have with this release is the fact that all three films are in one Blu-ray disc, and as we look to the audio and video quality, the video quality is not as crisp and pristine as it should be. But we will move on and we'll go to some screenshots so I can tell you guys about the audio and video quality. All right, so starting with the first Naruto film, which is the first Naruto film I actually saw, is Naruto the movie Ninja Clash in the Land of Snow. Now, this Blu-ray release comes in at a full 1080p and a 1.85 by 1 widescreen theatrical aspect ratio. So this is the same aspect ratio as it was in the movie theaters. So there is no cropping, none of that whatsoever. But because all three films are in one Blu-ray disc, there is a slight compression artifacts. Now, they're not noticeable on small screens, but when you move on to much larger screens, say anything over 42 inches, I would say, because on my 55-inch screen, I did notice that the image was in certain scenes were not as crisp and detailed as they should be. But overall, it's still a fantastic presentation. Comparing it to the DVD version, as you can see, the DVD version, when it's upscaled to 1080p resolution, there are extreme pixelations. And if you're running this on a TV, a HD TV, your HD TV will probably use some kind of blurring and sharpening filter that will kind of blur out those pixelations to try to sharpen the overall image. But it's not as crisp as pristine as the Blu-ray edition. Now jumping to Tubi TV, who has the Naruto movies in 720p quality. You could tell the 720p quality, it's more detailed than the DVD quality, and there's less pixelation. Has the same compression artifacts, just like any streaming service, but it's hidden well because of the higher resolution than the DVD. But moving along to the Crunchyroll rip. Now, Crunchyroll has updated their streaming, and now all three Naruto movies are in full HD. So right off the bat, we see a huge improvement off of the DVD and as well as the 720p to be released. But moving on to the actual Blu-ray screenshots, as you see, it's it's a toss-up. On certain scenes, the Blu-ray looks better because of the higher bit rate and the more detailed. But in certain scenes, more so night scenes, and sometimes in the close-up department with the facial details, they almost look identical, and that's because of the slight compression artifact that is on these videos due to the fact that all three films are in the same disc. Now, moving on to the audio quality on the Blu-ray is great. The only downside I would say is the fact that the Japanese audio is only stereo on the first movie, while the other two movies they did add 5.1 surround sound Japanese audio track. So, kind of a letdown, but still, it's still a great movie. It's my first Naruto movie that I've seen, and the Blu-ray is a step up over the DVD, and in some ways, it's a step up over the Crunchyroll stream if you don't mind the Crunchyroll stream's compressed audio. Um, Instead of the full looseless HD audios that are on the Blu-ray disc. Moving along, we have the second film, which is probably the best looking out of the three on this Blu-ray disc, and that is Naruto the movie Legend of the Stone Galil, which I butchered that, but um now, moving along, this film is just beautiful, even with the compression artifacts. I don't know if it's because of the animation style or the vibrant colors that it has, but this just the presentation is strong. It just has such a strong presentation that even the compression artifacts, they're barely noticeable. They're barely noticeable in this film. And this is why I say that this film is the best looking out of the three, because of the fact that with the compression artifacts, it's not that bad looking. It really isn't. It's great. It's in the same 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio, the same theatrical aspect ratio. So there is no cropping. This will fit well on your HD screens. And the bulk of the presentation, I would say it is Blu-ray quality. There's only some slight scenes that are, I would say, comparable to the Crunchyroll stream, which is the second highest next to the Blu-ray. Um, Here are some screenshots. First, the DVD quality. As always, DVD quality is 720 by 480. So obviously, comparing it to the Tubi, once again, Tubi quality is higher because it's 720p, even though the compression ratios, the bit rates are about the same. The Crunchyroll takes second place due to its native 1080p and its decent bit rate. And of course, just itching on the video quality above it is the Blu-ray because of the compression artifacts that are in the disc, because all three films are in one disc. Now, audio obviously is probably the best parts of physical media because you get full looseless HD 5.1 audio. I mean, these audios are just beautifully divine to listen to. The soundtrack, the dialogue, since the Crunchyroll streams are compressed, the audio quality is not as good as the physical Blu-ray disc. And if you have a surround sound system, it's only going to sound even better. Moving along to the third film, which is probably the worst looking out of the three, is Naruto the movie Guardians of the Crescent Moon Kingdom. Now, I think I only seen this movie twice before I bought the Blu-ray, so it's probably the one I'm not familiar with the most in terms of story and everything. But the audio and video quality is something that, of course, with all physical media, should be the best. And because of the compression artifacts, once again, this film just doesn't. It's not there. Now, the compression artifacts is very noticeable on the nighttime scenes, and especially on night times with facial close-ups. You can clearly see the facial detail. It's just not there. It's not as sharp and refined as it should be. And in some cases, it's on par with the Crunchyroll stream, which it shouldn't be, given that this is physical media. But since Viz opted to put all three films on one disc, this film needed the boost in terms of bitrate. It needed that much higher bitrate that it has now to really clear up those compression artifacts. But obviously, what shines in all three films is the audio quality. The audio quality is once again pristine, and it's right up there with the other two. Now, moving on to compare some footage. Well, as always, we got the DVD in its lowest quality. Obviously, DVDs will be the lowest quality at 480p, jumping up to the Tubi, which is the second best in terms of video quality because it's 720p and it has passable HD bit rate. I believe this was 8 megabits per second in terms of the bit rate, which is right up there. No. It's actually lower. Actually Crunchyroll, the 1080p Crunchyroll. There you go. Was at 8 megabits per second, was probably the bare lowest that HD footage should be streamed at. So obviously Crunchyroll takes second place, and the DVD and the Blu-ray sadly takes the first because of the pristine audio quality, not the lackluster video. In terms of special features, there really isn't none. The only special feature is the Naruto OVA, which is the Grand Sports Festival, and that is in its original 480p. It wasn't upscaled with the original audio. So, moving along, there is the Naruto triple feature collector's edition steelbox. What are your thoughts? Is it great? Yes. Did you guys like it? I hope so. That's what the comments are for. And as always, guys, have an awesome day.